The winter evening in Chicago was unforgiving. Snowflakes fell like tiny needles, driven sideways by a sharp wind that cut through coats and into bones. Ethan Miller, a poor single father of one, tightened his grip on the steering wheel of his old sedan as he drove home from another exhausting shift at the warehouse. His back ached, his hands were cracked from the cold, and his mind was heavy with worry. Rent was overdue, his daughter needed new shoes, and next week he had a court hearing that could decide whether he kept his job after a workplace dispute. Life felt like a test he was barely passing. As Ethan stopped at a red light near a quiet suburban road, something caught his eye. Two small figures stood near the curb, barely visible through the falling snow. He squinted, leaned forward, and felt his heart drop. They were twin girls, no older than 7 or 8, dressed in thin jackets, their hair dusted white with snow. They stood beside a dark car with its hood slightly open, clearly broken down. The light turned green, but Ethan didn't move. "Not tonight," he muttered, pulling over. He stepped out into the cold, boots crunching against ice. The girls stiffened when they saw him approach. One of them clutched the other's hand tighter, their eyes wide with fear. Hey, it's okay," Ethan said gently, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "Are you two all right?" The braver twin nodded slowly. "Our car stopped," she said, her teeth chattering. "Daddy went to get help, but it's been a long time. Our phone died." Ethan felt a knot tighten in his chest. He looked around, empty road, dim streetlights, snow piling higher by the minute. This was no place for children to be alone. Without hesitation, he took off his thick jacket and wrapped it around both girls, kneeling to zip it up so it covered them properly. "You're freezing," he said softly. "I'm Ethan. Let's get you warm." He guided them into his car, turning the heater all the way up. From a nearby diner, he bought 2 cups of hot chocolate, using the last cash he had planned to save for gas. The girls' hands trembled as they held the warm cups, color slowly returning to their cheeks. "My name is Lily," one said. "I'm Lucy," said the other. "We're twins." "That's pretty cool," Ethan smiled. "My daughter would love that." As they waited, Ethan stood outside the car, shielding it from the wind, checking the road every few seconds. He didn't know their father. He didn't know who he was helping. All he knew was that no child deserved to be alone in the cold. What Ethan didn't realize was that this small act of kindness, done without cameras, without praise, without expectation, was quietly setting the stage for a moment that would soon collide with his own fragile future. Snow continued to fall as Ethan Miller paced slowly beside his car, his breath forming white clouds in the air. Inside, Lily and Lucy sat quietly, wrapped in his jacket, the heater humming softly. Every few minutes, Ethan glanced down the road, hoping to see headlights. His phone buzzed with a reminder about his upcoming court date, and his stomach tightened. Next week, a judge would decide whether the complaint filed against him at work would cost him his job, or worse. He shook his head, pushing the thought away. Right now, the girls were what mattered. Nearly 20 minutes passed before a black SUV appeared, sliding to a stop beside them. The driver's door flew open, and a tall man rushed out, his face pale with fear. "Lily, Lucy," he shouted. The twins jumped from the car, running straight into his arms. The man dropped to his knees in the snow, holding them tightly as if afraid they might disappear again. His shoulders shook with relief. "I'm so sorry," he whispered again and again. "I was only gone a few minutes. The storm got worse." Ethan watched quietly, relieved. When the man finally stood, he turned to Ethan, his eyes filled with gratitude. "You stayed with them," he said, extending his hand. "Thank you. I don't know what could have happened if you hadn't stopped." Ethan shook his hand. "Any parent would have done the same," he replied humbly. "They were cold and scared." The man paused, studying Ethan's face. "My name is Robert Hayes," he said. "I'm a judge here in Cook County." The words hit Ethan like ice water. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. Judge Robert Hayes, the same name printed at the top of his court notice, the same man who would be presiding over his case in just a few days. Ethan's fingers tightened slightly as he pulled his hand back, his mind racing. Should he say something? Should he pretend he didn't know? I have a hearing next week," Ethan said honestly, his voice low. You're the judge assigned to it. Silence hung between them. Judge Hayes looked surprised, then thoughtful. His eyes drifted back to his daughters, who were now sitting safely inside the SUV. When he looked at Ethan again, his expression had changed, not to authority, but to respect. You didn't know who I was, the judge said slowly. You helped my children because it was right. Ethan nodded, that's all. Judge Hayes straightened. The law will be followed exactly as it should be, he said firmly. But know this, character matters, and tonight you showed me yours. He reached into his coat and handed Ethan his business card. If you ever need help outside the courtroom, legal guidance, job resources, call my office. As the SUV drove away, Ethan stood alone in the snow, heart pounding. The storm still raged, his problems weren't magically erased, but something had shifted. For the first time in a long while, Ethan felt seen. And deep down, he realized something powerful. Kindness, when given freely, always finds its way back.